Love without conditions. You have learned conditional love from people whose love for you was compromised by their own guilt and fear. These have been your role models. You need not be ashamed of this. You need only be aware of it as a fact. From the time you were an infant, you were conditioned to value yourself only when people responded positively to you. You learned that your self-worth was established externally. That was the fundamental error which has perpetuated itself throughout your life. Your parents' experience was no different from yours, nor was your children's experience. All of you need to heal from the same wounds. All trespasses, violations must be made conscious, and the emotions attached to them must be released. This is the way that all wounded beings move from the experience of conditional love to the experience of love without conditions. In the process of healing, you learn to give yourself the unconditional love you never received from your biological parents. And in this process you are born again and reparented, not by another authority figure, but by the source of love inside yourself. Learning to give love to the wounded person within begins to reverse your belief that your self-worth must be based on how others respond to you. Slowly, you retrain yourself to value yourself as you are, here and now, without conditions. No one else can do this for you. People can assist and encourage, but no one can teach you how to love yourself. That is the work of each individual soul. Each soul comes into physical experience intent to grapple with these issues of self-worth. However, very early on in the soul's sojourn here, conditions are placed on its natural ability to love and include others in its experience. Reversing these conditions is essential. If the soul leaves the physical world believing that it is the victim of its experience here, it will be drawn back again to unlearn that belief. However, if the soul awakens to the truth that its worth is not dependent on anything or anyone outside its mind or experience, it will establish itself in the source of love and awaken from the dream of abuse. Awakening from abuse means rejecting the illusion that you are not lovable as you are. You demonstrate love by giving it unconditionally to yourself. And as you do, you attract others into your life who are able to love you without conditions. Your attempt to find love outside yourself always fails, because you cannot receive from another something you haven't given to yourself. When you withhold love from yourself, you attract others into your life who are doing the same thing. The experience of unconditional love begins in your heart, not in someone else's. Don't make your ability to love yourself conditional on someone else's ability to love you. Don't place your faith in the conditions that surround love or in the form in which it presents itself, for these are impermanent and subject to the vicissitudes of everyday life. Real love does not change. It exists independently of the form through which it expresses. The source of this eternal, omnipresent, formless love is within you. This is where your faith must be placed, for this love is as certain as anything you will ever know, and once it is firmly established in your heart, you will never need to look for happiness outside of yourself. People will come and go in your life. Some people will treat you well, others will treat you unkindly. You will accept the love that is there and see lack of love for what it is, a cry for help from one who is hurting. You will encourage others to find the source of love within as you did, knowing fully that you cannot fix their little problems. The tragedy of their lives can only be addressed by their willingness to look within their own hearts and minds. One who loves without conditions places no limits on his freedom nor on anyone else's. He does not try to keep love, for to try to keep it is to lose it. Love is a gift that must constantly be given as it is asked for in each situation, and the giver always knows when and to whom the gift is to be given. There is nothing complicated about the act of love. It only becomes complicated when one starts to withhold love, and then it ceases to be love that one offers. One who loves himself is not afraid to be alone, for being alone is an opportunity to love and accept himself even more deeply. If his lover rejects him, does he feel unworthy? Does he pity himself and withdraw from the world, or bury himself in the search for a replacement? No, he simply continues breathing and extending his love at each step of his experience. One who loves himself unconditionally does not love in degrees or with strings attached. He does not search for someone special to love. He loves everyone who stands before him. One person is no more worthy or unworthy of his love than another. This is the kind of love that is being born in you now, my brother and sister. This is the kind of love that I offer you and that I ask you to extend to others. It is very clear. You cannot misunderstand what I am saying to you. Love can only exist between equals. Love can only exist between beings who have learned to love and value themselves internally. Love takes no hostages. It makes no bargains. It is not compromised by fear. Indeed, where love is present, fear with all its myriad conditions cannot be. I encourage you to be honest, my friend. What you know of love is not the kind of love I am describing. The kind of love I am describing is absolutely terrifying to you. Why is this? Because the experience of real love ends your experience of the conditional world. When you experience it, you no longer feel separate from others. You lose every aspect of your identity that pushes others away. You open to a larger reality that you create with others through mutual trust. Judgment falls away and acceptance rules. I am not afraid of that, you say, but consider it, please. Be honest with yourself and with me. You are afraid of that because it ends this dream, and the only way your ego knows to end the dream is to die. So please recognize your fear of love, your fear of death, your fear of annihilation. I have said, lest you die and be born again, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. When I said this, I was not talking about reincarnation. I was talking about the death of the ego, the death of all beliefs that separate you from others. I was talking about the end of judgment. What dies is not you. What dies is everything that you thought you were, every judgment you ever made about yourself or anyone else. That is what dies. And what is born again is full of light and clarity. It is the Christ that has eternal life in you and in me. I tell you, my brother and sister, your resurrection is at hand, and you are afraid of it. You cannot fool me. I see you trembling on your knees, looking up at the cross where you will soon be lifted up to pay for your sinful thoughts and acts. Do not deny your fear, or I will not be able to help you. What dies on the cross is not you. You are not the body. You are not your fearful thoughts. All this can and will die. If not now, it will happen later. You cannot avoid the death of the ego. You cannot avoid the death of the body. But these are not necessarily the same. Do not make the mistake of believing that your ego dies when your body does, or that your body dies when your ego does.